Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started with today's session of the Grant County Public Safety Operations Center Policy Board. Call this meeting to order. And so first order of business is election of officers. We do have enough to...
I nominate Bob the chair.
Second.
Aye.
I'm going to have to amend the bylaws.
That's all right. Maybe 2 consecutive years and then maybe 4.
Yeah, okay. I'm happy to do it if you guys are good with it. I don't want to... If somebody wants the opportunity, I'll be glad to turn it over.
I'm good with it. Thank you.
Okay. Next is the vice chair. Chair or president? I don't know. Vice chair, nominations.
Make a motion for Darrell Brain.
Second.
Mr. Brain, you accept that?
Sure.
Scott, did you not
That's
second?
Anybody else? I guess before I close nominations, I want to round everybody. Welcome, commissioners. My glasses are just now starting to lighten up. I can see who's in the room. Okay. And recording secretary?
On. Second. Second.
Did you do it?
I nominate him.
Are you good to that, Ms. Harness?
She's trying to make a sign of it right there. Brad seconded.
Okay, thank you very much. We do appreciate what everybody does. This is an important meeting, and appreciate everybody's shared responsibilities in it. Approval of last minutes. Did we have last minutes gone?
We had October ones, or wait,
Interviewed last month.
because we didn't have a quorum at the last one, whatever the previous one was.
And we did a meet in November. That one was canceled.
So it was October.
Yeah.
I would have sent them to you, but do you even remember now?
No. Let's see what
Yeah,
I got.
October 9th.
Yes, I do have. Do I need to read them? Do you feel comfortable enough to? Does everybody? You should have seen them actually.
I would have sent them to you right before the last
So
meeting.
everyone should have had an opportunity to see these minutes. I'd entertain a motion to approve them.
I make a motion to approve the minutes. I'll second them.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion passed. The minutes are approved. Thank you very much. Reports. We'll start with Director Hicks. Reports from the center.
Sure. So personnel-wise, we have 13 full-time dispatchers currently. We do have one going down to part-time, effective on the 11th of January. She is pursuing a medical degree and is beginning her infield training for that. She has stated several times that she'll be an active part-timer, still interested in working mostly nights. We interviewed last week and we had 2 to come in. We have a sit-in scheduled with one of them. The other one hasn't responded to any emails after the interview or phone calls. So we're not sure what's going on there. We'll try to catch that one and see what their intentions are. We do have one more applicant that we do have an interview scheduled for. And then we received word today that we have another one that's interested in applying, so she has the application. If we can get that one done, we'll get her interviewed as well.
How many do you have in training right now?
Right now, I don't have any.
Our other person that was in training decided that the job wasn't for him.
So my openings right now, 4?
Yeah, 5. 5 right now. It'll be 6 when Trinity leaves.
5 openings. Currently 4 prospects. Is that what you have? All right. Do you have a continuing advertisement out there? Are you looking, actively looking?
So we just recently got Facebook. We're trying to get that up and running. I've been working with one of our part-time dispatchers to try and get that more active with jobs stuff. Then I've been on the radio a couple of times with Mr. Wright and Mr. McCord, getting the word out and that kind of stuff. So it's there.
If we could do, I know the paper's it's always been limited, but it's even limited to 2 days a week now, but some kind of a full page ad or something.
And Justin has also used Indeed,
Okay.
so we've gotten some through there as well.
Because honestly, the job offers a lot. It's personally rewarding for people that get in there and do that. It's vitally important. Can't stress that enough. Okay. Questions for the director on any of that? Okay. Tech committee. That would be you, Daryl.
Really didn't have much today, other than we've talked about pagers. We believe we're going to talk to Adam about cutover. Excuse me, cutover to digital paging. We set the date of February 3rd. However, Adam is apprehensive of that because he's had to reschedule some installations of truck or radios for sheriff's department and some of the fire departments. So Kevin's going to reach out to Adam to see what his apprehension is there. And the discussion was that we don't think there's an issue going live with digital paging on the 3rd, but we'll see what Adam has to say about it and go from there. Pagers are ready, all but about 6 of ours. And I think Brad, he said all yours
when we
are.
talked, it was my bad.
And Adam,
Ready to go.
Adam said they may be here as early as this week, so
Okay.
probably start getting it.
Obviously, he didn't attend today.
Right. Nothing else, Kevin, right?
System programming keys are coming due in the spring. I'll work to get those renewed with IPSC and the Marion County radio system for Madison County. We're still working on getting stuff in line for Howard County. Then we'll be good to go there.
So for the benefit of commissioners, glad you're here. The paging issue, the county made a big investment in this whole communications thing, and honestly, for us to move to phase 2, which is ultimately where we want to go, and we want to be there by July. Paging has been the big holdup, being able to page all the fire departments, EMS, anybody on that system. That's been a big hang up, and so getting these pagers has kind of been the link to that. So it is important. If we can make that happen on February 3rd or close thereabouts, that'd be a big step toward getting us to the next step. And the sooner we do that, we'll start to see some of the benefit of the investment that the county's made. So it's huge. Fire EMS command.
We're still working with MS Trend and Cushing to resolve some issues with their imports. We had a productive meeting yesterday, and there's some emails going today between the two vendors working together to resolve that. So hopefully we'll get that done soon. Other than that, that's all I have for Fire EMS.
Is Marion Fire now good with all their times and those kind of things?
That's what they're still working.
Okay.
Times and narratives.
Okay. Any other questions on Fire EMS committee? Training committee.
As far as training is concerned, we'll have CPR coming up in the spring, probably in March, for all of my staff. I I'm the CPR instructor, so I can do that. The only charge will be for Marion Health to pay for the CPR cards and that kind of stuff. But that's a required training that they have every year. So we're still working on getting other presenters to come in and present material to my staff. And we also will have one day with party dispatch where they'll send somebody up to do a class as well.
You have another EMD class coming up? Or you?
Not yet, but
hired?
I will once I get people hired. The Indiana State 911 Board is wanting to host some classes in the area. They reached out to me, and I've reached out to Marion Health, and we're going to host some classes in Gas City at the event center there in Gas City for the State 911 Board. So that's coming as well.
I know we talked about Adam, J&K providing training to the operators in the field, which there again is, I think that's huge. I still think there's more issues in the field than there is in dispatch, but particularly as we get closer to phase 2, I think that's critical. So I know we talked initially about April, May timeframe, but might keep that on your calendar there.
Then I do have 2 employees also signed up to become center training officers. So they'll be certified to be training officers within the dispatch center. I've got one going to Evansville, and then I'll have one going to, I think it's Greenfield, Hancock County.
Any of that, is there any training in the future that you foresee that would be ISO related, or could help with that? I don't know, Brad, maybe even from your end.
Yeah, I mean, we can obviously do some stuff for them, which we've discussed before on the ISO side of it. Linking up with some fire department training and even EMS on that side of it. But, the big thing for our side of it is the times, the documentation, everything that's in the cab, basically, call taking. So there's obviously a lot of stuff out there, even online, for the ISO stuff that you guys can do as well.
And ISO related wise, I would love to get emergency fire dispatch started at some point this year to coordinate with EMD, and that would also help ISO.
Yep, definitely. How many days is that class for the
3.
EMD?
Okay. Any other questions or comments for the training committee? Okay. Old business. I don't have any showing, but always feel obligated to ask.
Always gotta do it.
Yeah.
I did think about something. Several months ago, we were talking about MSAG, and you were working with somebody in the courthouse trying to get everything into the system, and so how's that?
So the MSAG has been outdated since it was at the sheriff's office. The 911 community is falling in line with the NENA standards for 911, for next generation 911. I'm working with Intrado and AT&T to get the GIS information started. Right now we're working on just getting the county boundaries, the authoritative boundaries in and updated. And then I met 2 weeks ago with a gentleman from Indiana Office of Technology about a grant to update our GIS data to make it more updated and more compliant. Then I met with them again yesterday on a Teams meeting, and they basically told us what our needs are and where we fall within the 3 priorities of that grant. And we do have several priority 1 issues to be resolved. I reached out to the county assessor, Rhonda Wiley and the county auditor, Angie Jarvis, because both of their offices kind of oversee the GIS data, and presented the question to them. They're both in favor of pursuing the grant. So the next step would be to get the information to the commissioners so they can look at it and get their permission to pursue it. But I think we can get up to $30,000 to pay somebody to help update our data and bring it up to the latest standards. And once we do that, then yes, all of that stuff will be able to be done through GIS. Your districts, your EMS territories, all that stuff will be able to be added into GIS. I've also started playing with Rapid SOS. That came to light after a school safety meeting. That they're looking at software that for the security of the schools that would integrate with that. I love what I've seen so far, and I'll be rolling that out to our staff as well, along with some training for that. Rapid SOS is a program that when you call 911 from your cell phone, you get an alert in a web browser. You can click on it. You can basically see where they are. Location is based on the phone, not on the towers or the triangulation of the towers. When I call 911 from my phone, you get my name, you get my age, you get my height, you get my weight, you get all of my diagnosis that I have, you get my blood type, you get my medications, and it's all right there in the hands of the dispatcher. So that's something else that I'll be rolling out too. And 90% of the time, the Rapid SOS comes in before we get the cellular call.
And they're calling 911, is that?
Really?
I was on it the other day, it was beeping, making this beeping noise, and then it was like 2 seconds later, 911's actually ringing.
And the address updates, or the location of the phone updates every 5 or 6 seconds, and it leaves a breadcrumb of everywhere they've been. That's how we were tracking the student from Indiana Wesleyan the other night. It was updated every 5 or 6 seconds.
Never found about it.
So it's on the computers now.
It's a web address that I haven't pushed out yet, but I'm going to.
It's something that him and I have been,
And then the other thing I had was, what was ever wrong? Why did we lose phone system for so long? And what ended up being wrong?
So when IT ported the numbers off of the AT&T system, somehow AT&T made a change to how the data was coming into to the SIP drive. Everything is digital, so everything has got to match up one for one. And everybody was pointing fingers at everybody else, saying it's their problem, it's their problem, it's their problem. There was no working together until they're toward the end of it. It's our vendors had to work with AT&T. Just, so AT&T could see the data that was coming out. Our people had to work with them so we can make those match again, and that was the problem. So AT&T was sending data in format A, and Grant County was expecting the data to be in format B, and they weren't driving. A lot of behind the scenes, under the radar, unnormal stuff happens. And that also is what was causing our anti-alley issue that we were experiencing the last 2 weeks, where no phase 2 data was coming in. And again, I engaged in digital because that's where our wireless stuff comes from. And they're like, we don't see any problems. I'm like, I have a problem. So that we engaged with AT&T, who is our provider, and they're just like, we don't see a problem. We have a problem. And then they said, well, maybe it's in digital or Intrado. So we engaged Intrado, and it was fixed yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock. It's, I'm a a complete person who believes that if there's a problem, we need to get everybody who's involved in the problem at the table to get it done. This morning, we had a closeout meeting, and I flat out asked them, how can we prevent this from happening again? Is there alarm systems that should have caught, a trunk was down, and they all said yes. Well, how come it didn't? So they're all at their respective places looking to see what happened. So, but that issue has been resolved too now.
Answer your question? Okay. I have no idea what he said. All right. Any other old business? Okay. So we moved to new business, and we have discussion of bylaws, which probably should start with a little conversation about board appointments, who actually is on this board. And we have a familiar face from Marion PD. Welcome back. So let me run through this list. Grant County Sheriff is represented. Marion Police Chief is represented. Marion Fire, who's normally here, but he isn't today. Gas City Police Chief. A Township Fire Designee appointed by the Board of Commissioners after receiving a recommendation from the Grant County Mutual Aid Association, which is Chief Daly. Administrative Designee appointed by the Marion General Hospital, which is Patrick Kolb. Grant County Emergency Management Director, me. Civilian Taxpayer appointed by the mayor, by the Marion City Council, sorry. And a civilian taxpayer appointed by, which, by the way, that's Paul Thompson, who I was just looking at the attendance. Paul's not been here for some time.
Also here.
Probably need to, I can reach out to the city council, see what they want to do, if they want to reappoint someone or what they want to do. Civilian taxpayer appointed by Grant County Council, which is Daryl. Civilian taxpayer appointed by Jonesboro City Council. And then the Director of Public Safety, the Public Safety Director, yeah, I guess that's you, Kevin. It's not worded right in there, but yeah, Communications Director. Is a non-voting ex officio member of the board. And of course, Marlena is here, the services designee in case he can't make it. So those are the current members, list of people that are supposed to be members.
Marshall Dollar.
Pardon me?
Marshall Dollar.
Oh, yes. A town marshal appointed by the Board of Commissioners.
How about Grant County EMS too? How about the EMS director?
Thought I read that one. Grant County Emergency Management. Oh, that's Emergency Management Director. You know, the EMS Director is not on there. But we did amend that. Because it says so right here, EMS Director. Yeah, cities and towns may appoint one non-voting extra member per representative. So there is a place on the board for cities and towns to appoint somebody to attend, really not as voting members. The way the current bylaws read right now, these are the voting members. This is what constitutes and what we'll need to constitute a majority. But you are officially on there, Don, as EMS member.
Okay.
And have we not had a representative from Jonesboro, I think, ever, have we?
No.
He's never shown
I
up.
thought there was that one guy that showed up one time.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
can't remember if he introduced himself, if that was the guy from Jonesboro or
Yeah,
what.
Robert, somebody.
House, maybe?
Yes, Cows. Because I think he's a council member or something on it.
He was at one time.
I'll reach out to Mayor Goins, see what he wants to do with that.
How does Jonesboro have a seat and none of the other ones really do?
Because they're a city.
They're a city, so each city gets somebody.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Is there like, what, third class city or something?
Class, but
Yeah, I can't remember. Though when they went from town to city, they changed their police department.
And so, there again, so the commissioners know, we'll vote on this maybe today, but we'll bring that to you for official approval. You do own the system, so we want to make sure that you buy off on it. And if there's something in that you want to change, by all means, you'll have that opportunity in the right.
And the county does have a new county attorney, unresolved, but they'll probably be reviewing the policy as well.
Excellent, yeah. Because there have been times when we've needed some legal counsel. And there again, we'll always bring that to you and coordinate with the commissioners. Other than where I've got it highlighted, we'll move the EMS director onto that list. Not sure why it was left off of there, but we'll make
That was done in the early days to give Marion General a second seat.
Okay.
So we do have,
What was done to do that?
They made the way to an ex officio officer to give Marion an extra vote.
because the hospital has one non-voting,
They had two.
right, but one was non-voting.
Yeah, ex officio member, which was Patrick until Stephanie.
And then it's David.
Right. Questions on that? You want to see it written form? Somebody want to make a motion?
As the director of communications, I would like to see the policy change to where I would have a vote on what goes on.
I will say, I'm not selling one way or another. I'll say this, because I just left my advisory council, which really serves as my policy board. They're there to direct me. I don't have a vote in. I mean, I present just like you do. I present the issues, the plans, and what we want to do in the future. But that's certainly open to discussion. If we'll see, I mean, I entertain a motion if somebody wants to make it to that. But I'll just tell you, the way my office works, I don't do that. I mean, I'm not sure why. I'd have to go back because there again, my office is, I got direction, I actually have a Indiana code that directs how my board works. This is just a county board, but the commissioners may want to have some input on that as well. But, yeah. Comments?
I think I'll agree a little bit with you, Bob, on that. Kevin, you want somebody to support you, but also direct you in this board. I mean, you know, as far as that goes, I don't think you want to be part of that. This gives you the option to kick stuff back to us, and we kick stuff to you. So from that side of it, I see where you're coming from, but from my opinion, I think that's a good seat to stay out of and present to us. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, as a policy board, and you don't have to take our direction. You work for the commissioners just like I do. So my board can say what they want, but ultimately the commissioners don't tell me what I'm going to do. I would see it as a conflict of interest for me to have a vote in that, honestly. Just my way of looking at it, but.
Yeah, it's definitely nothing, nothing on the bad side of anything, nothing against it. I just think you want that ability to have direction from the background for you, and that kind of covers you on both sides. Just my thoughts.
We probably should have more conversation with the new commissioners as to what you really want this board to oversee and do. I never got a good answer from in the past, but so we've taken on some things that I clearly felt weren't in our realm, because there again, personnel, that's the director's thing. We're policy board. I don't think we should be making personnel decisions. That's the director's job to do, and how he wants to run his center. From an overall, like the stuff we talked today, training and those kind of things, and trying to give him some direction there. Not that he has to take it, but But we report to you. This body reports to the commissioner, so that's something we can have a discussion. I know you guys got a lot on your plates right now, but I personally would appreciate a good, clear direction as to what you guys would like us to do or stay out of, either way.
There's always been a question as to what our role as the policy board is. And I don't think any of us really know. I mean, as far as, does he go to the board for something, or does he go to the commissioners for something? You know, that's always been a question that we've never really had answered to us. So I think that's, I don't speak for everybody, but I think that's a question in pretty much everybody's mind here, as far as what direction we are supposed to be going.
I think with the previous director, I think we got way out of our lane, but that's just my opinion. I like staying in my lane. So anyway, we do have a request, and if somebody wants to make a motion, or we just let it die for lack of.
I think when we leave it for the commissioners to decide if they want to, ultimately they sign the bylaws. If they want to make a change of who the members are, be up to the commissioners. And have to talk to their legal and all that, and figure out if there needs to be an adjustment or what. So they would probably have to take that request and decide if they're going to add that in or what you guys want to do.
I think we'll table it for now, let the commissioners understand it, and I'll make sure you get a copy of these bylaws so you can see it too, and if there are any changes. So we'll hold off on a vote until the commissioners see it.
And I also know in the past there was a discussion on the frequency of the meetings, monthly, bi-monthly.
That I do believe should be well, I think we should have a say in that, but ultimately if they're going to tell us we're going to meet every week.
I mean, if we're having a discussion on the bylaws and what needs to be changed, I think this is going to be the time to
Because
bring that
it
up
does,
as well.
and it does call that out in there as well. Yeah, absolutely. You and I should probably put a list together and present that to the commissioners as far as how they, probably not only this, but there's probably some others too that we can talk about.
And there was some side conversation that at first, when we got this all started, monthly meetings were probably needed. But right now, unless you need it for EMD purposes or anything like that, I'm not so sure we need to be meeting every month. But again, that's commissioner after commissioners. But
I think it could go quarterly.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, more quarterly.
And if something comes up and we need to meet, we can.
Yeah.
There's always a provision that, the president or the chair can call the meeting.
As long as we can make it on a day when I don't have my advisory council. That'd be handy.
Or the next Wednesday after that when it's the LAPC.
Yeah. Maybe just move up to a Thursday.
2 operations meetings a month too.
I mean, we can even change the date.
So the operations meetings I do like because that gives us an opportunity to attack an issue while it's still fresh, and that's the best time to fix it and with the right people. And that's kind of off on the side. So we can fix problems there. We don't
Could
need to
be a
make
different day, so it doesn't have to be on Wednesday.
Sure.
On those ones, we still have to watch how many board members are at those meetings. Because if you have too many that show up at one of those, that have to then become a public meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That might be a good question for.
To not interfere with your advisory.
Yeah, and the open door law and all that. So.
I don't think on that one, though, we've ever had any issue with too many members because it's, I think, only, 3 of us, usually.
Usually.
Yeah, but when we start adding the fire department, then you start getting.
Yeah, it could
He
happen.
goes as a member of the fire department, or Curtis goes, now you got 2 more board members that are in there. That's why, when I've talked about this before, I've always thought a lot of that should be like truck captains and some of that, the people that are going to the scenes and that kind of stuff and doing the radio traffic more than the bosses, the ones that are listening to it and that kind of stuff on those committees.
Right.
And for you, like you guys, some of your leads in there, the ones that are in the room when the stuff's going on, that have the first hand, especially when it's an individual incident. It's good to have the people involved and the leaders that are just kind of getting everything secondhand.
Well, technically, it doesn't list it in here. I've always considered myself your representative, but obviously it doesn't say that in here. But that might be something we change to make sure you do have, in the event that I'm not the president or even on the council for that.
When the ordinance was first drafted, I believe the EMA director was the commissioner's representative. And then I think they updated it to show the emergency management director.
As a separate member.
Well, as in place of the commissioner representative.
And honestly, this side's board works pretty well. I think you can get it too big, but for the most part, this works well. And I think the right people are representing the right.
I think
entire county covered.
the board we have is an amazing board. It's very well crafted, and the representatives are easy to work with.
Okay. Anything specific from the city of Marion request?
No, obviously I've been almost 9.5 years away, so I'm just wondering, I'm not, this was just starting when I left.
Sure. Should we put you on? You want to be on? We probably should add you to the official email list, or
Yeah.
you'll be the.
Yeah, I got the email from the chief this morning on
Okay.
coming over to here today, so yeah, if we could do that.
Kevin, you got his stuff. You can get it.
Kevin should have it. If not, I'll
Okay.
get it.
Excellent. Glad to see Marion PD represent. It's a big chunk of what we do. So. Okay. I don't have any other new business. If we're done beating that dead horse. Anybody else have anything for the good of the order? Words of wisdom, commissioners?
I would just like to thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the policy board in some fashion or another.
Sure.
Anything that Commissioner Pullinger I can do to facilitate putting Grant County forward, anything that we can do to help any of the services that we provide, we'll be more than happy to listen. We both will take your call about any time of the day.
Thanks. This is, go ahead.
It's been a while since I read the policy book, so I'll have to refresh myself. I was on the original section, so
unfortunately, it's only 8 pages, so it's not heavy reading, but we'll make sure we got it right. You have something, Christian?
I'd probably say maybe we'll all should just look at it for the next meeting, because if we're gonna make some changes, if there's stuff we see,
Might as well bring it up at the next meeting. If there's other stuff that we see in there that may needs to be reworded or
We'll get
refocused.
a fresh copy sent out to everybody, and you all take a look. It's vitally important what this, without communications, we're dead in the water. It all starts there. So I cannot thank and appreciate the dispatchers enough, honestly. They catch grief from every corner, and that's unfortunate because it's not always warranted. And you're under a microscope, and so we will make sure we are definitely, everything we do here, we're supporting that center for sure. Always making it better. Anybody else? Okay, we have a follow-up or another meeting here at 2 o'clock, so if you're not here for that, you're free to go. All right, thanks.
See you.
See you.
Go back to sleep.